Well, thanks everybody for joining. I'm terribly sorry that I'm not able to be there with you in person. I have spent most of the week in bed, sick as a dog, but I'm heavily medicated right now. So hopefully, I'll say something worth hearing and wanted to be able to deliver this to you guys. Today, I'm going to talk about what I've been doing with social media over the last year, what the results of that has been, and just some things to think about if you'd like to try, creating original content on social media in a way that could potentially help you grow your business or grow your network. To give you guys a little bit of history, my name's Brad Williams. I'm one of the advisors with Highlands Wealth Group. We left Wells Fargo Advisors back in 2021. We just celebrated 4 years with IFG. Terrell Boone is my partner at Highlands Wealth Group. Back when we started, I had a grand vision of what I was going to be able to do from a social media standpoint because of the freedom that we had to do something really unique and original that we didn't have at our prior firm. And so, what I was doing in 2021 was trying to create really clever and unique visuals that help teach financial concepts. And what I learned from that is that it took a lot of time and effort and wasn't really a skill set that I had to do in an efficient manner. And in that first year of this business, it was something that I quickly burned out on. So I stopped creating original content back in 2021 just after a few weeks, and then we began using some of the other tools like an FMG suite type tool to send content out to our various social media pages. And what I found from that over doing that for a couple of years is that I hardly got any engagement, hardly got any kind of interaction whatsoever with that content because it was all, kind of canned content, nothing original, nothing in our own voice. And so back in November of 2023, I decided that I was going to write original posts and try to post daily for a year on LinkedIn and have no expectation of what that would yield, and just see what happened. And what the results for me ended up being was in 2024, I actually generated about 25 leads for potential clients from social media. Those leads turned into about 18 appointments. And from those appointments, I have added about $45,000 in annually recurring revenue just from social media leads in 2024, which was way beyond what I expected to be able to accomplish from social media. I found that some of the initial opportunities that I received were people that already knew me in some capacity that were connected to me, but didn't really have a clear picture of what it was that I did. And because of me posting daily content about things that I was actually helping my real clients with, it inspired them to reach out. And as I continued to grow a following, I started to get some referrals from other centers of influence that I followed, and I even began to get some direct communication from folks who had discovered me on LinkedIn that were interested in meeting and having conversations. And so that really surprised me to have those kinds of results in the first year of trying a strategy like this. So what I'm going to share with you is a little about what happened with my post in terms of how much they got viewed. I'm going to talk about some keys to success with social media, and then I'm going to get a little in the weeds with creating content, your engagement strategy, and your connection strategy with folks through social media, and why all that matters and how it's helped me. I'll stop a couple times throughout to open the floor for questions, and I'll try to leave a good bit of time at the end for questions as well. So we will get right into it. So, I mentioned the 25 leads, about $45,000 in an annually recurring revenue added. What I barely got any, I was posting every day using FMG Suite. Like there was something going to my page on almost a daily basis, and I hardly had any profile views. I hardly had any likes or comments on my posts. And when I started creating original content in my own voice, telling stories that were relevant to my actual day-to-day interactions with clients, last year my posts ended up getting viewed about 2.5 million times. I had over 7,000 reactions, that's likes on my post, and over 3,200 comments on my post last year, which there were days where I had more likes and interactions than I had had in my entire previous history with LinkedIn because of the original content that I was creating. So what are the keys that I think to be successful with social media? Number one, and I think the most important one is you've really got to like social media. You have to enjoy writing, creating content, interacting with other people's content, being on the platform, and doing that consistently. So if you're somebody who doesn't really enjoy social media in your personal life, then I don't think that this type of strategy is really going to be sustainable for you because you just have to enjoy doing it. I love social media. I love engaging with people that way. I love meeting people through social media and making connections that way. And so it has been an ideal platform for me because of how much I enjoy actually spending time on it. But even I can burn out on something like that. And so a big theme of what I'll talk about is how I've tried to limit the time that I spend on there to make sure that this is as easy on me as possible because I'm not a professional influencer. I'm not a professional social media person. I have a real job outside of social media, like we all do, in taking care of our clients. So I want to make sure that I'm using time efficiently in that regard. The second key to success, I think, is defining your audience. What is your ideal client profile? Who is it that you want to be talking to through social media? There are content creators out there that are financial advisors that are very specific in every post that they make. There's a gentleman that I follow. He targets CRE brokers and CRE brokers only. And every single post is targeted at commercial real estate professionals. And that's all he does. And he posts every single day, and pretty much every single one of his clients is a commercial real estate broker, and he does really well through social media. There are others that I follow that focus on equity compensated executives. There's a number of different kind of niches that you can look into for that. But what I like to say is you can actually be more specific in your social media strategy than you are in your firm level strategy. I have not really found a very specific niche like that. Like I don't just work with commercial real estate brokers. I don't just work with dentists or things like that. I'm like a lot of folks that, we have a much more broad definition of who we will work with. And even if that is true for our various marketing efforts, it is possible for you to be more specific with social media. So where I'm trending with my social media is trying to target to specifically target solo, kind of solo professional, solopreneur type business owner types on social media, but I'm working towards redirecting and re-engaging my content that way. So this is something that you can evolve over time. But defining your audience is really how you're going to be more successful. I may have added, 45,000 or so in annually recurring revenue, but a friend that I've made that's another content creator that's been doing this for a little bit longer, he was able to add about $30 million in assets under management in a 2-year period of time entirely through LinkedIn. So this platform can be very, very effective if you're able to clearly define and identify who you're talking to and get your content in front of them. And I'm going to talk a little bit about how to do that. The third key to success is consistency. This goes back to you really got to like doing it because it's only going to be effective if you're doing it consistently over a long period of time. There are folks that argue that you should be posting every single day. I don't necessarily think you have to post every day, but I certainly think 4 or 5 times a week at minimum to make sure that your content is evolving and getting seen and getting engagement so that it's getting in front of as many people as possible. And lastly, I think being authentic is important. There are plenty of AI tools out there that can write posts for you, that can auto post for you, that can even comment for you on other people's content. But if you spend any amount of time on LinkedIn, it's very easy to tell the AI posts apart from real authentic genuine posts. If you follow anything I've ever written on LinkedIn, it's all entirely original. I've never used any kind of AI tool for ideas, for inspiration, for writing any of the content. I write it all myself. I enjoy doing it. And I try to put a very authentic voice to that because I think that the biggest value of doing this is you have the ability to begin the trust building process with your prospects before you even know they exist. Somebody can follow your content for a few months and really get a sense of what you're really about. And when you have that initial meeting, you're not pitching your services at that point. They've basically already decided that they intend to work with you. You're just ironing out the details of process and cost at that point, which I share a lot of that kind of information on social media as well. So they already know what to expect in that regard before they sit down with me. So most of the meetings that I've had with folks that really are qualified, appointments for me have turned into a commitment in that first meeting because they've really already decided that they wanted to work with me before they even came in the door or met with me on Zoom. I'm going to talk mostly about LinkedIn for what I'm doing personally. I cross post all the same content on LinkedIn and on a professional Facebook page. LinkedIn is where I primarily live because LinkedIn is the most powerful tool for building a larger audience and getting your content in front of the most people without spending a whole lot of money. You can do LinkedIn Premium, but I don't even think that's necessary. You can do the free version of LinkedIn and still be very effective doing this because LinkedIn is entirely algorithm based in terms of how it gets your content out in front of people. And so, what LinkedIn likes is it likes people that are engaging with your content. They're liking your post, they're commenting your post, you're commenting on other people's posts, and that's going to grow and grow and grow your audience. I've added a little over 3,000 new followers in the last 12 months on LinkedIn entirely from this content strategy, which is more than doubled what I had when I started, more than tripled what I had when I started, actually. Facebook is different because the only way you can really grow an audience on Facebook is through paid Facebook ads. And how effective that is, I don't really have a lot of information about. I've tried that some and it hasn't really worked for me, but it would be costly to build a larger audience on Facebook, whereas LinkedIn is a place that you can build an audience without a whole lot of additional cost. So, that being said, I'm going to transition directly into content and talk about the most important part of being successful on LinkedIn. And this is what your profile looks like. And whether you're creating content at all, I think everybody in the room that's using LinkedIn can optimize their profile in a way that I'm going to share. So, I'm actually going to share my screen and show you guys what my LinkedIn profile is and talk about each of the sections and why they really matter. So, number one, the most important part of your LinkedIn page is a part that a lot of people leave blank. When you look at a lot of profiles, there's nothing right here in the banner photo section, or there's maybe something, a picture of a lake or a rainforest or something like that. There's nothing very specific. This is Consider this the most valuable piece of real estate on your LinkedIn profile because studies have shown that people spend more time looking at your banner photo than they do any other part of your LinkedIn profile. They spend 7 to 8 seconds looking at this. So, this is an opportunity for you on your banner photo to show who you are, what you do, who you help, and how to get in touch with you. And so, you'll see mine. I think it's good to include a picture because everything with a picture just is more personal and inviting. And so I say I'm answering the question, am I being smart with my money? I do heartfelt financial planning for family first professionals. Message my plan to learn more. And so if somebody sends me a direct message, that's an opportunity for me to drop some of my contact information so that we can either schedule an appointment or interact through over the phone or through email. So banner photo, extremely important. You can use tools like Canva or others to create something like this. I know Jason's team can help if you don't have somebody internally that has the skill set to make something like this for you. So the next important piece is your headline, which is this bit of text directly under your name, where I say, I'm simplifying financial decisions for high earners and lifelong savers. That's pretty broad. I'm working on trying to narrow my focus on social media, which I think will amplify my results. But that's been something that I've been trying to move towards over time. Um, but what most people have here is financial advisor. You and 60,000 other people have financial advisor under your name on LinkedIn. So putting some kind of text that's eye-catching and more memorable and is in some way related to what information you had in your banner photo is going to get you a lot more attention to your profile. It's going to entice people to continue scrolling down to read what you've got. The next piece of real estate that matters is this piece right here where I have the smartest money move. This is something that you can customize. It's called a button, and you can link people out to some other content from here. You can send people to your website, to your scheduling link, which is what I do, say to a sign up sheet for a newsletter or something that's relevant to you, and you can customize this text. So I say the smartest money move is clicking this and scheduling an appointment with me. And so that's something again that stands out, that's different than 99% of other profiles. Um, then the next piece is your about section. The about section, consider this to be the ultimate LinkedIn post. And every good LinkedIn post starts with a great hook, a one-liner that grabs somebody's attention. And in mine, I said, in my heart, I knew there had to be a better way. So we made one. Then I share my story about why we left the big bank to create an independent firm, how we started Highlands Wealth Group. And then I share information about the specific types of people that we talk about. And I share numbers, folks in their 50s and 60s with half a million or more in investable assets, high earners, folks in their 30s and 40s with 200,000 plus in household income. That's pretty clear of whether you fit the profile for the people that I typically work with. Then I share some of the services that we provide, and then I go into cost of what the range of the cost for financial plans are, what our asset management fee schedule is, and I include a text version of our of my link to schedule an appointment. So there's a lot of information of those kind of top number one things that people want to know before they meet with a financial advisor. So that weeds out a lot of people that are going to turn me down for one of these reasons that maybe price is an issue, maybe service is an issue, or whatever. But that about me section has a tremendous amount of opportunity for you to share a lot of relevant information. And then again, down at the bottom here is where I put the disclosure that's required by Social Patrol. The last place I want to talk about on the LinkedIn profile is the featured tiles. So that's below your About Me section. Most people don't use this at all. And those that do often just have it, some sort of basic link, and it's not got a very good aesthetic to it. So creating an eye-catching visual like I've done here, unlock your full financial potential. Click here to schedule an introduction. That links out to my scheduling link, and then our logo links out to our website. A lot of people do this in different ways, but it is one of the few opportunities on your page for you to link people out of LinkedIn to some other place that you would like for them to go, maybe to check out your website or something like that. So anybody can optimize their LinkedIn profile, even if you never log in. If somebody's checking you out or researching you, this is going to be a really important thing, because if it's eye catching, if it has relevant information, that could be the difference in somebody clicking or not clicking to try to meet with you. So that's everything I wanted to share on the LinkedIn profile. Before I move into talking about creating content, are there any questions about the LinkedIn profile? Cool. Well, I'll go on straight into talking about creating content. So, a lot of people do this differently. There's a lot of different types of content that you can create on LinkedIn. Some people create really interesting visuals. Some people do like slideshow type, presentations. It looks more like PowerPoint. That's called a carousel. Some people do short form video content, which is I know people that have been really successful doing that. Something that I'm considering doing more of in the future. And other people just do plain old text posts, which is what I do. I have 99% of what I posted on LinkedIn have been text, and maybe a few of them, probably every 5, 6 posts, maybe I include a picture on, usually a personal photo, either a selfie or a picture of me and the family, or me here at the office, or me out doing something that I enjoy doing, because we really want people to have the opportunity to get to know us through this, so that breaks down those barriers and helps people decide, he seems like the kind of person that I'd really enjoy talking to. So that goes back to that authenticity and really sharing about your life on there. So what I do for creating content is I'm a little bit more spontaneous. Like I tried to do, I'm going to block, an hour a week, and I'm going to try to write as many posts as I can write, and I'm going to schedule them out. And I found that I'm just not disciplined enough to do that. I know other people that they block 2 hours a week and they write, 3 weeks worth of content, and they're good to go. And that's the only time they think about it. But for me, I have found that I have been more successful just looking for that moment in the day when I've got 10 to 15 minutes of free time, if I'm sitting waiting in a line or waiting on food for lunch, or if I've just got a break to take a breather. I do it that way. Some people say you should always post between 7 and 9 a.m. because that's the most eyes that are on LinkedIn. And that's probably true. 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. Eastern time is the time that most people are on LinkedIn. And if you can post during that time or use the scheduling tools to do that, great. But because I haven't wanted to burn out and I wanted to make this as simple on me as possible, I just post when I have time to post or when I'm stricken with some sort of inspiration. And how I come up with the content for my post is, if you read anything that I post, it's almost certainly something that happened to me within the last 48 to 72 hours. Something that I talked about with a client, something that I dealt with personally, something that happened to one of my friends, something that's relevant financially. One of my most recent posts, I did a analogy comparing the song Wheels on the Bus to financial planning, because I sing Wheels on the Bus to my 18-month-old about 900 times a day. So I'm literally using and drawing inspiration from real life on all these posts and trying to make it as easy on myself as possible to do that. The nice thing about having some content that I've got behind me now is people's memories are short. So about every 90 days is when you can kind of go back and start recycling subject matter over again. You can take old posts, refresh them, upcycle them, and post them again, because that 90-day period is kind of the magic of where you can do that. So you don't have to come up with some new thing every single day for the whole year. Recycling old content is a great thing to do. But from a formatting standpoint, I'm going to share a visual of one of my posts, or I might share a couple that use this format. So when you're writing a post, you don't want it to look like reading a book. You want it to be easy to read and to flow and be eye catching, because if it looks like a long paragraph, people aren't going to read it. So every post should start with a great hook. So my hook in this post was, I'm selling everything and going to cash. So I think a lot of people, and in this case, 47,815 people viewed this post. That hook caught a lot of attention. But what am I actually talking about? I'm actually writing a post about taking advantage of kitty tax rules to realize gains at a 0% tax rate in my daughter's custodial brokerage account. And so, got the eye-catching hook, tell the story, so every good post has a story. I'm sharing story about how I'm helping my daughter plan for her financial future, showing that it's not about whether the market's going to crash. I'm just taking advantage of a 0% tax rate on capital gains. And then I share the solution. I talk about some of the details of kitty tax rules in a format that's pretty easy to read. And then what the resolution of that was I was able to realize $1,300 in capital gains tax free in my daughter's account, then reinvest the proceeds however I saw fit. And then I have a call to action in just about every post. And I said, DM Kitty Tax to discuss how these rules apply to your situation. And one of the things about this is, you have your hook, your story, your solution, and I'm sorry, your hook, your story, solution, what the result of that solution was, and then your call to action. But I never put links in my post. Like, I don't link directly in the post to say my calendar or my website. That just junks up a post and it makes the algorithm not like it as much, and it won't put it in front of many people. So if you want to include links, include those down in the comments section of your post and not in the actual body of the post. But that basic structure is a great way to share complicated information in a format that is easier to understand. I'll share another one here where I have in quotes, I had an HSA before I had you. That's an actual quote that my wife said to me one night a few months ago. And so that gave me an opportunity to kind of share that story and say, does that mean that my wife loves her HSA more than she loves me? Probably not, but I wouldn't blame her if she did. Then it go into some of the details about how an HSA work, what's the benefits of those, what are the contribution limits, and then, another call to action. And in this post, I shared a picture of my wife and my daughter. I work with family first professionals. And so I really want to emphasize the fact that I'm very family oriented. I want to work with people that have, young children that, grandchildren, whatever it is. I want family to be very at the center of everything that we're doing. And so that's the message that I'm trying to get across through my content. So sharing most of my posts have some kind of financial topic or education component to them. That's not designed as anything other than to remind people of the various subject matter in their life where they need to be thinking about financial decisions that need to be made. What I have found that happens is over a period of following my posts for a few weeks or months, people are like, you know what? Brad has said a whole lot of stuff about things that I know I need to talk about. And as we all know, the only good time to meet with somebody new is when they have something going on in life that inspires them to meet with us. And so if now is not that time, well, maybe 3 months from now is. And when they think about, oh, it's time for me to sit down with a financial advisor, they remember they've been seeing Brad Williams's post on LinkedIn for a very long time. And maybe they want to meet with me and I get the opportunity to be one of the people that they interview. The other piece where I found success with this consistency of posting is all of the centers of influence that I work with are also seeing this content on a regular basis. When I go to events or when I touch base with them, they're saying, "Man, you're all over LinkedIn. Oh, I love that post." Even in the choir room at church, I get people coming, "Man, I love that post you did about mortgages last week," or something like that. So it's not only the broader, people that I have no interaction with. It's also my closer community of people that are 1 degree separated from me or actual people that I know in my real life that are viewing this. And then when that life event happens, they're remembering me and they're wanting to meet with me. So that's how I've gained several clients in that regard. But I've also, now that I've been doing this for a while, I've been getting more leads that are just directly people that I had no idea who they were until they found me on LinkedIn. So you can do educational posts, you can do emotional posts telling something about your professional story that's difficult and relatable, sharing stories about your life. I talk a lot about our involvement with the Walk to End Alzheimer's and my wife's father's battle with dementia, so I share a lot of things about real things that we're doing with on a daily basis to paint that picture of the authentic self as best I can so that people really know what they're getting into and who they're going to be working with if they work with me. So that's content. You can do that several different ways. I try to be more spontaneous. I do keep a note in my phone if I come up with an idea of a topic to post, but it's usually just something that happened to me that day, and I post whenever I have time. But you can use scheduling tools. You can do a whole week's or a whole month's worth of posts all at once. Somebody I know, he's scheduled all the way out to July for a post every single day, and so he doesn't really have to, think about it on a daily basis. So you have to find what works for you in order to not burn out or get tired of doing it because that consistency matters so much. Any questions on content before I move into engagement?
Hey Brad, I have a question.
Yeah,
Can you hear me?
yeah, I can hear you.
So a lot of times if I post up, I see something that somebody else posted that I think is really interesting and engaging, and I will take it and kind of rebrand it and put it
Yeah.
out question, just to see, hey, I saw this, this was really interesting. What do, send me a message. Let me know what you think about, this. Do you do anything like that, or is it just all direct
Yeah,
stuff?
that's a good question. So I would say I don't do a lot of reposting other people's content. I've done that some, but that's rare. But I've certainly been inspired by other people's content that has given me ideas of things that I might want to post about in the future or has inspired me to research a topic. Because that's another byproduct of this that I haven't mentioned yet is by interacting with a lot of other financial content creators, most of whom are all independent financial planners like us. It's actually helped me to kind of identify areas where, like, you know what? That thing that my buddy Nestor Vargas out in Colorado posted the other day, something I don't know a whole lot about. So maybe I need to do some research into that subject area to improve my knowledge base, which has helped make me a better financial planner. So that's certainly been a byproduct of that, but it does help inspire me for other content. But most importantly, and this directly leads us into the engagement portion of what I wanted to talk about, if you're just posting and that's all you're doing on LinkedIn, not that many people are going to see your content. LinkedIn wants to see you engaging with other people's content and other people engaging with your content. And that's what caused that like snowball effect of getting all of your information and the stuff that you're doing on LinkedIn in front of more eyes. And so going back to, if you saw a post that you like, that's a great opportunity for you to comment on that other person's post. You want to be strategic about how you do that. You want to comment on people's posts that are either relevant to the audience that you're talking to or are people that can help you grow your network. So I comment on other financial planner content all the time. I have lists of people that are in commercial real estate, in engineering professions, or in other kinds of areas where I find that I often have clients that I like to work with so that I can engage with that content. Because if you've ever noticed your scroll in LinkedIn, it's not just original post, it's oftentimes what one of your connections commented on somebody else's post. And so most people, one of the things that I do is everybody who views my profile, if I think that they either fit my ideal client profile or somebody that can help me grow my network, I message them and I say, thank you for viewing my profile. I hope you found something interesting on there. Can you tell me how you found me? 9 times out of 10, the way they found me is because they saw me commenting on somebody else's post, and that's what led them to look at me. So your engagement with other people's content and how you engage with the people who engage with your content is extremely important. So if I'm spending, say, 15 to 20 minutes a day writing a post, I'm spending probably 15 to 30 minutes a day interacting with other people's posts. So this should be, a 30 to 60 minute a day activity on social media, and that's about the amount of time that I spend. I would say, for me right now, since I've gotten more content under my belt that I can recycle, I'm probably spending 3 to 4 hours a week on social media. There are people who are social media influenced that they're on there 6, 7 hours a day. I can't do that. I got too many clients to take care of, just like you guys. So I try to make this as simple on myself as possible. But that engagement with other people's content is extremely important because that's how you grow an audience. That's how you get your content seen by more people. And one of the things that I do to make that easier for me is I'll share my screen again. You can actually use LinkedIn. You don't have to have premium or anything like that to do this. Go to search and you search by posts and you do those posts by the latest post in the last 24 hours, you can find people as you find people who you like their content, you like engaging with their content, you think they're relevant in your industry or to the niche that you're trying to speak to. You can create lists of those people so that I say, and when you save that to your favorites, every time you go to this page, you're going to see all the same people in their most recent content. So you can go down the line, spend 10, 15 minutes, comment on 10 to 15 posts, and you're done for the day. But I would also say you're not just posting, hey, great post, or oh, great idea, or something like that. You need to be trying to be thoughtful about your comments and trying to say something that's value adding on their posts, or eye catching, because that's what's going to get people who are following these folks. You know, for instance, Mando Salavanti is an advisor that has a huge following on LinkedIn. So most of his posts get huge amounts of comments. So not a lot of people that are on his posts are going to end up working with Mando. But if they see, me in there and they're interested in following other financial planners, well, they're probably going to follow. They're probably going to check me out, view my profile, and then maybe someday they become a client. Who knows? But that's why that engagement is so important, and that's how you get your content in front of more people. So engagement is your comments on other people's posts, your replies to the comments that people put on your post. It's posting in groups that are specific to the kind of things that you're interested in or the target audience that you're going for. So creating content is one thing, but creating content without engaging with other content, it's not going to work. You have to do both, to build a following and to get your content seen. Any questions about engagement? Yeah,
Hi, related to what you post.
I'm sorry that it broke up for a second. Can you ask one more time?
compliance related to what you post? Do you have?
Yeah, absolutely. So that's one of the beauties of us being independent and LPL having social patrol, because I don't have to get any pre-approvals for any of the content that I post. That's all. Everything that you can connect to social profile, it's all an after the fact review. So if I update something on my profile that they don't like, they could revert it back to what it was before or send me a message. But in over a year of doing this and posting daily consistently, sometimes more than once a day, I've not had a single post get rejected or anything by Social Patrol. So it's not like you have to, submit it and then post it. You can just post it in real time. Same thing goes for video as well. As long as it's in LinkedIn or in Facebook and you've got that connected to Social Patrol, you can do that. And if they see it and they don't like it, they'll just delete it, and they'll send you an email about it. But I haven't had any problems with that. So that makes it really easy to do this in real time, without having to put a tremendous amount of effort into getting content sent through, marketing approval.
Brad, is there
Yes.
a, if you, is there a place that you went to ahead of time to learn about what you can say and not say? I mean, I haven't, I'm woefully inadequate on this. So,
Yeah, I wouldn't say that there's a place that I went to that told me what I can say and what I can't say more than just reviewing, the social media guidelines from LPL and the documents there. But I have followed a lot of advisors, for a number of years now that are successful with social media. Some of those are LPL advisors, and so I've kind of gotten a sense of the kind of content that they're posting and what they do. And there's certainly some names of people that I can recommend. Anthony Rizzo, there might be somebody that y'all know. He's in Charlotte. He's with LPL and he does a fantastic job on LinkedIn. And I've followed him for probably 3 or 4 years now. And so, he's one of the people who has inspired me to kind of do this. There's another advisor named Nick Nielsen that does this. So that's kind of where I've kind of gone. But I always am very careful. If you look at my posts, I hardly ever talk about investments. And I definitely never talk about any specific investments. I don't talk about anything like that. Most of the topics that I share are other financial planning topics. I talk a lot about what's the difference between a tax deduction and a tax credit. How does an HSA work? How does an FSA work? What's a dependent care FSA? All those kinds of things.